One of his most famous quotes say, traveling, it leaves you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi my friends, thank a bunch for being here. I am Rihlah, your Islamic storyteller. Today I have got a super exciting story for you. It's about one of the greatest Muslim travelers of all time. His name might not be as popular in the West as Marco Polo, but believe me, his journey was way longer, way wider, and honestly much more meaningful. Now, just in case you don't know, Marco Polo was a Venetian explorer from Italy. He traveled to Asia in the 13th century, spending about 24 years on his journey. His story became super famous in Europe, inspiring explorers like Christopher Columbus later on. But there's the thing, while Marco Polo's adventures were impressive, Ibn Battuta's travel were on another level. This is the story of Ibn Battuta, the man who spent almost 30 years exploring the world in the 14th century. Ibn Battuta was born in Tangier, Morocco on February 25, 1304 CE. He came from a family of scholars. His father was a judge, and young Ibn Battuta studied Islamic law under him. Not only that, he even became a hafiz, someone who memorized the entire of Quran. Because of this, wherever he traveled later in life, people respected him as a scholar. He was often invited to lead prayers, and that gave him a special position wherever he went. But deep inside, there was something burning in his heart, an unstoppable desire to travel. And let me ask you, my friends, at 21 years old, what kind of dreams do you have? Do you picture yourself studying, starting a career, maybe getting married? Or have you ever thought about leaving everything behind and traveling across the world? Well, Ibn Battuta actually did that at just 21. He left his hometown of Tangier with a simple goal to perform the Hajj in Makkah. But that one occasion, it turned into a legendary almost 30-year adventure across continents. He walked on foot, rode camels through endless desert, and sailed on merchant ships across dangerous seas. Imagine the courage it took in those days without Google Maps, airplanes, or even reliable travel guides. And here's the incredible part. Now just picture this, an animate map unfolding before our eyes. The first line moves from Tangier, his hometown in Morocco, to Aljazair, then across Tunisia and Libya before reaching Egypt, the land of the mighty Nile. From there, he continued east to Palestine, visit Jerusalem, and traveled north to Damascus in Syria, a major center of Islamic scholars at the time. Finally, in 1326, he arrived in Mecca, where he performed Hajj number 1, the secret pilgrimage that marked the beginning of his incredible adventures. After completing Hajj, he set out once again, this time toward Iraq and Persia, eager to explore new lands and cultures beyond the horizon. Then returned to Mecca for his second Hajj in 1327, this time sailing south toward Yemen, then across the sea to Somalia and Kilwa in Tanzania. Each land he entered gave him a new legend, new cultures, and new challenge. And 1330, he explored the East Africa coast before returning once again to Mecca for Hajj number 3. Not long after, his journey carried him north through Anatolia, across the Black Sea to Crimea, then even farther to Russia, the Russian steppe, and along the Volga River. He visited the great city of Constantinople or Istanbul before finally returning to Mecca once more for Hajj number 4 in 1332. The journey didn't stop there, my friends. It just kept going. In 1333, Ibn Battuta arrived in India, where the powerful Sultan of Delhi gave him a high honor. He was appointed as a judge Imagine that, from a traveler to a judge in a royal court, he ended up living there for almost 8 years. From India, he sailed across the Indian Ocean to the Maldives, where once again he served as a chief judge. Then his journey took him to Sri Lanka, where he climbed the sacred mountain known as Adam Peak Sripada. After that, he continued further east to Southeast Asia, reaching Sumatra, where he visited the kingdom of Samudera Pasai, one of the earliest Muslim kingdoms in what is now Indonesia. In 1345, Ibn Battuta had traveled even further, all the way to China. He visited Guangzhou, Quanzhou, and even Beijing, exploring the vast empire and its rich culture. On his way back, he once again returned to Mecca, performing Haji number 5 in 1346, completing yet another circle in his incredible journey. After that, he finally returned home to Morocco in 1349, but sadly, when he arrived, he discovered both of his parents had passed away. Even then, he didn't stop traveling. He set out once again, this time sailing north to Andalusia, visiting Granada, the last Muslim stronghold in Western Europe. Between 1352 and 1354, his journey continued deep into West Africa, exploring Mali, Timbuktu, and traveling along the Niger River, where vibrant kingdoms and centers of learning flourished. Finally, in 1354, after nearly 30 years of adventure, Ibn Battuta returned once more to face Morocco, this time for good. There, his incredible life story was recorded by the scholar Ibn Juzai under the order of Sultan Abu Inan Faris, becoming the legendary book Rihlah. Now, what about his personal life? Well, Ibn Battuta did marry several times in different places, in India, in the Maldives, and even in East Africa. He also had children, but the details about his family are scarce, because his story focused way more on his journeys and his role as a scholar, rather than his private life. And of course, his travels were not always smooth. He faced storms at sea, the burning heat of desert, pirates, bandits, and even political intrigues. In India, he barely escaped it, yet through all of that, he proved himself to be strong, intelligent, adaptable, and above all, deeply courageous. Friends, if you want to dive deeper into his life, Rihlah is the main window into Ibn Battuta's incredible words. No other writing of his have survived Rihlah in his true legacy. He passed away in Fez, Morocco, around 1368 or 1369 CE. One of his most famous quotes say, "Traveling, it leaves you speechless, then turns you into a storyteller." And honestly, the lesson we can take is crystal clear. Passion and courage are not just for the young. At 21, Ibn Battuta had the bravery to leave his home, and even at nearly 50, he was still exploring Asia and Africa. His story is a reminder that curiosity, learning, and courage can light our path at any age. And that, my friends, is the story of Ibn Battuta, the greatest traveler of Muslim world, whose footsteps stretch across more than 120,000 kilometers and over 40 countries. So let me ask you, if Ibn Battuta had the courage to step out at 21 years old, what about us today? What journeys, big or small, are we brave enough to begin? Thank you so much for listening to this story with me. I hope it inspired you to keep seeking knowledge, to never stop exploring, and to remember every journey, no matter how small, can change your world. See you in the next story. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.